Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Hello, EBC, the European Bridge Chapter. Welcome to another episode of Chat EBC. This is the video podcast where we get to know the members a little bit better. And actually, I'm really delighted to have my guest on the show today because he's the reason that this is called Chat EBC. He actually came up with the idea for the name Chat EBC for a different project. I thought he was joking because I thought it was a huge project that we couldn't possibly do, but because he's an entrepreneur, he was serious about it. I just stole the name and now he has to use something else. So welcome, Costas, to Chat EBC. Thanks very much for joining us.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Costas, just to start off, you did come up with the name Chat EBC. You were talking about actually doing something with AI for the chapter. Do you want to give us a little idea of what you were talking about?
Yes, of course. We were playing on a playground here at my company, and then we came up early enough. I don't know, months ago, with a solution that you could, have a number of documents and put it into the system, and then the system would create a chat interface that would chat with the data that you put into the system. So we created a small chat client that allowed people to ask questions about EBC. So what's EBC? When was it founded? What are the do's? who's the president? And different things. So it was very funny, but it needed a lot of work to go live. But it was really interesting, a funny project. We had some good time with this.
So this, I think I heard about it from Carson. He was saying, you were talking about this idea of building our own chatbot or our own AI for EBC, and we were going to call it Chat EBC. And it's like, that's a brilliant name. That's a really great name that not a lot of people, because we're EBC, because we have those three letters, we can play around with it. And I thought, the name is great. The idea is fantastical. It's never going to happen. I was thinking about doing this show. Let's call it that. And then at a board meeting, I was told, no, Costas was serious. You've literally stolen this name. So I'm very, very sorry.
No, but you did it, yeah. So you executed. So you are the one that should own it.
Well, it's trademarked to you. So, but look, let's get into it. Costas, you have been a member of EBC for a long time now. You were not at the very first event, but you were at the second event. Tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of you and EBC.
Okay. Yes, I've been a member in EO since 3 years now. I've been a very passionate EOer. From the very first moment I went into the path of leadership, it was something like 6 months after I joined EO that I joined the board of the preparation of Unlimited in Santorini. So this was an amazing experience for me at that time because I didn't even, I was informed for almost a year, but then I started the path of leadership as well, and it was an amazing experience. We organized an amazing event in Santorini, and then that's how it started, and I became even more fanatic over. I started following a lot of events, and then it was, I think, a closing event or an opening event when the one and only Michalis recruited me to EBC. So he told me, "Oh, there is a nice initiative here. We are traveling every 3 months, and we are having great fun. It's a forum we shuffle every time." And, it was so amazing. I said, "I'm in immediately. Yeah? I'm in. What do I have to do?" And then I wrote, and I think Karsten was at that time membership. So we had that's how I joined. And my first event was in Italy. Which was an experience, and I can share a lot about this later on. But it was an amazing experience. Ever since I loved it, and I'm trying to do as much as I can for the chapter. I love giving and contributing to the chapter, so I'm a very happy EBCer.
Very good. And tell us about your business. What do you do in Greece?
Okay, my business. I'm into technology. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I have 4 companies at the moment. One of the companies is a company that is doing IT infrastructure for other companies. So engineers that create cloud solutions, hardware infrastructure, support, and so on and so forth. My second company is a company that is producing a software that is for the printing sector, for the packaging printing sector. So it's one of the biggest solutions in the Eastern European market for large packaging printers. So manufacturing, actually, this is manufacturing. It's a manufacturing solution. It's an MIS system that covers end-to-end all the processes within those organizations. And then I have a new startup that I'm just funding now, and it's working on a software solution that will support value-based selling. It's a concept that allows companies to sell their products or services based on the value that they deliver to the customer. So rather than working on the specifications, I'm selling you this screen with
Okay.
this resolution. They would sell with the impact that it has for your site or whatever. So this is a fresh thing that is starting now. I'm investing in that and also helping advising. And the company that I'm running, all these companies I'm not running, I'm just a shareholder, but the company that I'm running currently is it's CubeRM, and it's a VC-funded startup that started 5 years ago, and it's been through several VC funding rounds so far. So we're raising money, and we are into the public tender industry. So we collect data for public tenders from approximately 40 something countries every day, every publication of a tender, of a public procurement opportunity. And then we also collect the awards when a tender is awarded. So we collect all this data and we apply AI in order to identify which tender is relevant for the product portfolio of our customers. We are targeting life sciences companies, so headquarters of big pharma or medtech companies. We have all the big names like Pfizer, Novartis, and all these big guys. The company is based out of Zurich, and R&D is in Greece. And I'm currently the CEO. I'm running this company. And we also have a software solution that allows these companies to manage their tendering from the start of getting the data into the system and then bidding for the tender and winning. So that's not in a nutshell, but
So, but you're doing this with private companies like the likes of Pfizer. You're not doing this for government tenders and things like that.
we collect the government tender data and we deliver it to the big pharma and medtech companies.
Okay, because my experience in Ireland of dealing with the tender process for government, it is a nightmare of just bureaucracy and following red tape and trying to jump through hurdles, and then ultimately you lose it if you're €1.50 more expensive than your competitor.
We do cover Ireland. We do have data for Ireland. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we should talk again at a later stage about how we can get you to improve that for Ireland.
Help
So
them.
tell me, you've got these four. The one that you're most interested in, the one that you're doing now, is the tenders and everything else. How did you get started in any of these four? Like, which one was the first one, and how did you get started in that, and how did you then decide, okay, well, this is the way to go, and this is the way to go from here?
Actually, I was always into technology since I was 14 years old. I was in the US for a trip vacation, and then I went into Radio Shack. For those of you that remember Radio Shack, and I bought a little calculator which had a small, a basic programming language, and then I started. And I fell in love, and I said, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do in my life." So that's how it all started. Actually, I started as a young entrepreneur.
As it happens, I just for my daughter, she had to get a specific type of calculator. She's in the last 2 years of her school in high school, and she needed to get a specific type of calculator. And this calculator allows you to code in Python.
Okay.
And I was like, what happened to just calculators? Like,
Radio Shack did
why
it.
does everything have to allow you to code? But
Radio Shack did it 40 years ago, yeah, with Basic.
okay. Yeah. So sorry, you got involved in you got a calculator and decided technology is for me.
Yeah, exactly. Then I studied. I went to an American college. Then I went for my master's degree in Manchester, and then I came back. I worked for a couple of years. Went to the army, 2 years of army at that time in Greece. And then when I came back, I said, okay, I was always an entrepreneur in my mind. And I started my own company with something like, I don't know how, 20,000 drachmas at that time. It's something like, I don't know, 100 euro or 200
2
euros,
euro.
yeah, something like that. And then, okay, I started working and working and working hard, uh, different directions in the beginning. So I was supporting computers in the beginning. I was helping people get into the internet with modems, if you remember. So, and then at some point in time, I realized that software is the future, and I went into the software business and started creating software companies. That's how it all started. I did love this field very much from the early days.
So are you more interested now these days in the software or the hardware?
Software, absolutely software. Yeah. I'm very passionate about software.
Out of curiosity, do you still do any of the coding?
Unfortunately, no, no, nothing.
Okay.
Just Excel files.
Yeah, with lots of red in them, unfortunately.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not putting my
So
hand on the keyboard anymore on that. But I used to a lot.
um well, I mean, I think it's important to have at least more than a passing understanding when you're running these things, but trying to keep up with whatever's changing is beyond me. So you're doing a lot of stuff with the software, and you're focusing on the software. You have some hardware stuff, but if you weren't doing exactly this right now, if you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what do you think you'd like to explore? What kinds of areas, what kinds of markets or industries would you like to look at?
I wouldn't look at any other industry. Technology is my thing. I would do something in technology, perhaps a different thing, but I would do definitely something in technology. I'm a gadget guy, so I love it. The only area that I could be potentially interested would be uh, something around people, around HR, around cultural topics, which I'm very passionate about, and I
Mhm.
would definitely do something on people, but it would be a technological solution for people.
So I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't change. But if I would change, I'd do this.
Come on.
No, I love the entrepreneurial mindset. No, I am dedicated to what I'm doing. But oh, look at that. That's shiny. So and I know with conversations that I've had with you at EBC, like culture and people, like you're very naturally disposed to supporting people, supporting individuals, supporting connections with people. Um, what kind of things do you do in your company to bring that to life?
That's interesting. I do a lot of things and I fail in my company with this with this a lot. I have the most common problem that every entrepreneur has, which is a problem with people every day. But I'm working really hard on it. I mean, I'm working a lot on the culture. I'm trying to bring the culture as close to my values and my co-founders' values as possible. I tried. I played a little with cultural elements in the past, and sometimes you go into some default cultural elements that you should have in your company, and then I realized that some of those don't really work if that's not me, if that's not my co-founders. So I started
Hmm.
somehow reflecting on what are the real business values that we have, what are the cultural elements that we bring with us, and this works a lot. This is something like not a magic wand exactly, but it was an eye opener for me that people that we hired after we deployed a different kind of culture started being more productive, more friendly, more lower churn on people. So it was uh, really something that I do a lot. I work on cultural elements that reflect the entrepreneur's culture.
And do you have like those personal values and those values? Do you have them up anywhere, or have you worked with your team on wordsmithing to make sure that it is resonating for everybody, or is this still something that's internal with you?
No, it's very well documented, and it's we are also doing initiatives around those things. So one of our values is that we are building on our people. So we build on people. So what we are trying to do at the moment is to work on a concept that is quite interesting, and it's part also of the development of our people. So we are trying to work on people's strengths. So we have been identifying people's strengths, using Strengths Finder or other tools that really
Hmm.
map out where every person is good at. And then what we try to do is, once we have this mapping, we try to mix and match people in teams that are complementary. So we don't have two
Hmm.
exceptional people work on a project together because they're going to crash into each other. So we get a guy that is, someone that is strategic and then executional, and someone that is good with people and bonding and teamwork and so on. So this is an experiment that I'm doing at the moment. I don't know the results exactly, but it looks really good because people are getting roles that they like, that they love, because they're good at it. So this means that they are working happier. They are happier when working, and it looks like it's working. But I'm going to tell you more in half a year or so.
Okay, well, this is always the thing when you're trying something new. You don't know for months if it's working or not, and you just gotta go with what feels right.
I will tell you about my failure in 6 months.
Well, not that I want to hear about your failures, but hopefully the failures we'll hear about them much sooner, and then the successes in 6 months. So then, other than what's going on in your business with the startup that you're focusing on now and looking after the other three, and other than the culture things that you're trying to improve in the business, what's on your mind at the moment? Now, for those of you who are not in EO, this is not a 5% what's in your mind. This is just a general what are things that are percolating around that are taking some of your time, taking some of your energy, without necessarily getting too deep into the 5%.
Yeah, of course, there are personal and family stuff that are taking up a big part of my mind.
Hmm.
I'll focus on a business topic, um, which is, of course, very, very it's current. It's all this AI fuzz.
Hmm.
I'm struggling with one topic. We have been doing AI and generative AI and discriminative AI since many years, since 2 3 years now. So we are a lot into these kind of technologies. When all this madness with GPT started, of course, everyone went into it. Uh, I have a big question mark in my head. We are currently under a project which means that we are going to create our own LLM. LLM is the large language model that
Hmm.
is lying beneath GPT and all these AI models. So we are building our own LLM, and because we have tons of data, we collect data for public procurement since 2017. So this means that we have tons of data for tender awards, public procurement, and in all industries. So I'm currently struggling to find out and identify the correct direction for this wealth that lies in our servers, in our data centers. So not exactly what to do with it, because we have a running business and we do leverage the data, but I feel that there is much more in there. And when we create our LLM, we will discover a lot of insights and things within this vast amount of data that we have. So that's my main directional thought. This is every day on my mind. What should I do with it more? What should I do more with it?
I find the whole area of AI fascinating. I understand probably about 60% of what people explain to me. I was talking to people who were using LLMs before ChatGPT came out, and the way they were building it, I kind of understood it. I understand a little bit more now because of using ChatGPT, but I know it's just the tip of the iceberg. That like this is about to change everything. Um, when you're talking about your AI, and there are a couple of people in EBC who are AI experts. Christoph from Poland, for example, is a PhD in artificial intelligence. When you're building it out, you're building it for your own. knowledge. It's not that you would put this in and then other people would be able to access it. This becomes another asset, an informational asset of your organization, correct?
That's an interesting question. And just before I respond to your question, Stephen, just a personal thought on these LLMs. From the early days of my entrepreneurial career, I was always very, very fond of focus, absolute focus in one market, in one industry, so that I really have the expertise. And that's what I've done in all my businesses. In my current business, I'm focusing on tendering for the life sciences, although we could focus on every industry because we have tender data. So I'm focusing on this industry. So the same thing, I believe, will apply for LLMs. Generic LLMs will be very, very good for marketing purposes or generic responses, but different LLMs will emerge. Specific LLMs that are trained on data that are for the specific industry. I have a very good example. It's I don't know if you heard of it. It's the Hippocratic.ai, which is an LLM that a team is building. A lot of millions raised for Hippocratic.ai, which is an LLM for health data, healthcare data.
Doctors and medicine, and yeah.
Exactly. So, and they tried it out, and it outperforms GPT in more than 150 questions in medical exams. So, because it's a specific,
Okay.
industry-specific LLM. So, having said that, that's my aspiration here. I want to build the procurement LLM. So, the LLM that will
Okay.
talk the language of procurement, of public procurement plus private procurement as well. And then, of course, the plan would be that we make it also public and that we leverage it for people that want to create solutions on top of such a specific LLM. But this is yet to come. It's a lot of GPUs that are needed to train the model, and it's a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
money that we need to invest in that. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of very, very specific information, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there was a conversation that we had at the board about maybe getting. I think we have an AI thing in Bodrum or something like that, or we're talking about putting together an AI conversation with a couple of people. So that'll be an interesting thing to have. And again, for those of you EOers who are not an EBC, you don't get access to this. This is just for us. You should join us, and then you can see about getting all of these amazing conversations. So speaking of EBC, so you said you've been in EO for 3.5 years, right? You joined EO Greece and then you
Like
joined
that.
EBC. What's been so you've been in EBC for quite a while, almost from the beginning, like missing one or two events. What's your favorite EBC moment so far, if you have one?
Ooh.
Obviously meeting me, but other than that,
There is no other amazing moment than meeting you. Just boring moments around the world, nothing more than that. So this is a very, very difficult question because every BC is.
it's why I like asking it.
I will tell you my first impression of EBC. It was in
Uh-huh.
Italy. It was in Italy, and we all met in Milan. We had an amazing tour in Bocconi University. We had lunch and Italian food, very nice. And then we went in a bus, and we were supposed to go to a castle thing. So we went on
I've
the
heard
bus,
about this.
and the bus started, driving for hours, a couple of hours, something like that. At some point in time, we were so tired. It was really late at night, and we realized that the bus was in a kind of a small village going through some kind of passages, very narrow streets, and it barely fit into the street. So we were laughing and we were saying, how the hell is this bus going to go back? I mean, there is no way to go back. And at some point in time, it stops, and we realized that we were all stuck very far away from the castle, and the bus could just go a little bit back. And then we had to take our luggage out and start carrying it to a couple of cars from the castle owners that came to pick us up. But they came to pick up only our luggage, and we had to start walking in the middle of the night with a foggy environment, like it was like nightmare. It looked like I don't know. We were all exhausted, and we were walking for I don't know 3 4 kilometers. I can't even remember, for an hour or so. It was cold. We were tired, exhausted, and then we ended up to this beautiful castle, and it was the best experience I ever had so far, because it was, wow, this is what we're going to experience once in a lifetime. I never had the chance to walk up a hill swearing and sweating and being mad about what am I doing here. But then, of course, experiencing all the forum we had in this amazing place. And it was, yeah, this was an extraordinary moment for me, although I suffered at that time. Yeah, but it was great. I mean, a lot of people can
But
remember.
you definitely felt.
I have some very, very good photos of people walking in the fog at night with some lights, and it's like a horror movie or something. I can remember
But you definitely earned your stay in that castle.
which were completely inappropriate, if I recall correctly. So she was walking on high heels or something. I don't know. So it was really fun.
But if she said them in Greek, then nobody would understand and everything would be fine. So then, apart from walking for miles in the mountains of Italy and driving through, I mean, Italian roads can be difficult to drive through at the best of times. What what for you is special about EBC? So you're in EO Greece, and you're in EBC. You already have forum, you already have a chapter, you already have stuff local on your doorstep. What's special about EBC for you?
Beyond you being there,
Yeah, even when I'm not there, yeah.
okay. It's difficult. Uh, what's special about EBC? The special thing about EBC, and this is my personal experience within EBC, is that every time I get there, I get in a kind of a different momentum, mental momentum. It's the fact that we are out of our daily lives. It's we are out of context. I don't know what, but every time I go to EBC, and this has happened to me twice or three times. Sorry, I went to EBC with a topic that I wanted to do a deep dive, and I was fed up with the previous topic. It was a personal topic that I was discussing for a couple of EBCs, and then I was fed up, and I said, I'm going to go. I'm not going to discuss this topic, and I'm going to discuss this topic, another topic, a business topic, and so on. And I went into the forum, and when it started, you start realizing that these are people that you have never been in forum with again, or once, or I don't know, whatever, and you realize that this is such a, a hugging feeling, such a warm feeling, that you feel like, okay, I really want to open, I really want to discuss the topic that it's really the most important for my life at the moment. So, surprisingly enough, I have discussed my topic that I'm facing problems for 5 EBCs in a row, something like that. So, what I mean, what is amazing about EBC is that in a matter of half a day, we get all together so intimate and so connected and so easily bonded to each other for 2 3 days. Then we may not see each other for 3 months, but it's like a hype, like an emotional hype. This is what I love about EBC, and of course the how open people are and how we all connect together. Also outside, when we meet in an event or something, it's like family.
Yeah. We hug a lot.
Yeah, we do. Well, I don't know who started this, but okay, we do hug a lot.
Uh, okay, so I've got 5 random questions from a random question generator. These are just quick fire. They don't really need explanations. So just the first thing that comes into your head.
Is
Okay.
there is there a wheel of fortune that
So
you turn?
it's kind of it's actually it's an Excel sheet that I've created with a macro that I just click a button and one of the random questions from the list comes up. So the first one is, what's a question that you wish people would ask you more often?
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
How I feel.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that people
Yeah.
in BC ask a lot, but it's not in the rest of my life. So trying to focus on my feelings helps me a lot, and that would be a question.
Cool. Next question. What's the most unusual job you've ever had?
The most unpaid job,
Any job, anything you've done.
any job. So I've been a waiter for many years to support my vacation. Actually, yes, this is very interesting. I was on vacation once, and I ran out of money. I was sleeping in a sleeping bag. I didn't have any money at all. And then I met a friend in this Greek island that told me, I was 19 years old at that time, and she told me there is a high school girl that needs to go for exams for math in September, and she needs private lessons. And then I started having private
Hmm.
lessons, being well paid. Every day I was driving with a car in the island. I rent a car, I rent a room, and so on. So it was like private math lessons in a Greek island during vacation. So what are the odds? Yeah,
Are you good at maths?
I am good.
Okay, well then that's fine. I thought you might have been just pulling a fast one. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Relax on my couch, uh, turn on the TV, and just empty my mind.
Hmm.
Boring, I know, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's it.
It works. Fourth question. What's something that makes you laugh no matter how many times you see it?
My kids.
Good. And now the last one. I like this one. What's the most beautiful place you've ever been?
I know this might look like solicitation, but it's in a Greek island. uh, it's and it's actually a beach that is only accessible via boat, which is in the Cyclades. It's in Iraklia, which is an island in the middle of the Aegean Sea, and it's one of the most beautiful sceneries that I've ever seen there. So I can't describe it easily, but it's a beach that is only accessible by boat.
Hmm, very good. So now the last question, which is a question that was asked to you by Thomas Svoboda from Czech Republic. So he was the last guest, and I asked him to ask me a question, to give me a question to ask the next guest that you have no idea. He had no idea. And when we finish this, you're going to give me a question that I'm going to ask the next guest, and you don't know who that is.
Okay.
So the question that Thomas asked is, what's one thing about you which you know that you're better than others at?
People, being with people.
Hmm.
I love it. I like it. I'm good at it, and I'm passionate about it. Human relationships and being with people.
Well, having spent quite a bit of time with you over the last couple of retreats, I go along with that. I think you're great at people.
Thank you, Stephen.
Costas, thank you so much for joining me. I know you're up to your eyes with a lot of stuff at the moment. We're going to see each other at the next retreat in a couple of weeks. So thank you so much for joining us. And everybody else in EBC, make sure you spend some time getting to know this man at the next event and finding out more about his story.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.